Throughout my life, I've played many a video game. I grew up playing things like Zelda, Devil May Cry, Metal Gear Solid, and of course a Mario or Lego game here and there like every other late 90s or early 2000s kid. I've made my way through the Dark Souls series and Elden Ring plenty of times, and I've played my share of anime and superhero related games too. But one legendary series that I've never really given much attention to is Sonic the Hedgehog. It's not that I wasn't interested in Sonic at all, just the opposite in fact. Whenever I saw bits of gameplay or a TV commercial around, I found it very appealing. I've actually seen all 3 live action movies and enjoyed them, and watched a few episodes of Sonic X here and there as a kid. I suppose it just was never the first thing on the list for me, so I didn't end up getting most of the games. You see, going into this game, I've only ever owned Sonic and the Secret Rings on the Wii, Sonic Mania, and Sonic Colors because they were free on PlayStation Plus. The first 2 of which I've yet to come even close to finishing to this day. Secret Rings because I was a dumb kid and the game also didn't seem that great. And Mania because I'm a dumb adult and got stuck on the 4th or 5th zone because I couldn't find the way forward the one time I tried it in the background with spare time. So basically, this is the second Sonic game I've ever finished, with Colors being not long before this. I enjoyed Colors, and Sonic Origins was on sale, so I decided to grab it and start this series from the very beginning. And I have to say, despite how old this game is, my first impressions were pretty solid. I played the game on Classic mode, and there are quite a few areas where if you didn't know any better, you'd think this game came out yesterday, and other areas where this game feels like the crotchety old man at the retirement home whose last day could be any time now. Right from the jump, I was impressed by the still vibrant and full of life visuals the game has to offer. The colors are bright and pop, the sprites are well animated, and the backgrounds are even live, which is something not many other games that look like this do even now. I'm a huge sucker for vintage visuals, and this game knocked them out of the park. The greens and blues of Green Hill Zone really stand out and make you feel like you're running through a lively forest. The starry sky and space-age buildings and constructs of Starlight Zone are immensely beautiful, and I was in awe the first time I saw the stars move as I moved, creating a feeling of running through space. The sound design is also immaculate, and I think we can all agree that there are few sounds more cathartic than collecting rings. The sound effects on Sonic's movement also contribute to how fast you feel or how high you're jumping, this all even without mentioning the music. Of course you have the iconic Green Hills soundtrack. But also the catchy Marble Zone tunes that are still in my head as I'm writing this. The boss fights also have incredible tracks that make them feel epic and fun. The music in this game absolutely stands the test of time without question, and combined with the visuals make for a near timeless experience. If not for those aforementioned crotchety old man moments the game has in gameplay. Look, I'm no stranger to the old games are padded with usually unfair difficulty for extra length angle, or the game is meant to be replayed angle either. I've played through Mario 2 and 3, and some titles on the SNES are some of my favorites, like Super Mario World, Link to the Past, or Super Metroid. But wow, that sentiment is dialed up to 11 in this game a lot of the time. I will say that the gameplay has aged mostly very well, and I will also say that the few Mario games that I've played are just about the limit of my experience with platformers. So, needless to say, I definitely wasn't the most skilled at this game, but there were a lot of moments that felt as if skill wasn't the issue, and the game was simply throwing things out of nowhere just to take my lives. Such as here. And here. Okay, you get the point. I understand that Sonic was still finding its identity at this point. From what I know, they were trying to make a competitor to Mario that had some differences, enough to make it their own. And they absolutely succeeded. A platformer with an emphasis on speed and movement with a then unheard of physics engine? The problem is, while the physics still hold up very well, and made for some incredibly fun levels like Spring Yard Zone, the speed aspect was not anywhere near fully utilized. Zones like Green Hills or Starlight allow you to maneuver at high speeds while balancing the platforming elements pretty well, and in my opinion are the best levels in the game along with Spring Yard. Then you have the other three zones that at their best are normal platformers, and at their worst feel like Kaizo Mario levels. Marble Zone is the least offensive of these, mostly leaning toward normal platformer stuff, and it was still enjoyable for the most part because of it. As for Labyrinth and Scrap Brain, let's just say if you grew up playing these games, you probably have deep trust issues. Like, oh my lord, some of the absolute out of nowhere BS that happens in this game, and specifically these two levels, is downright dirty, disrespectful, uncalled for, and yes, it is personal. Whoever put these two elevators right next to each other and a spike trap above your head right at the connecting point, I hope your pillows are warm and flaccid. The game even thinks it's funny in Spring Yard Zone by putting the word cope in big flashing letters right at the beginning. Boy, I had no idea how true that word would be in the coming levels. There were a lot of points where I felt like the game wanted me to go fast or take a spring for an alternate path, but as soon as I did, the game threw some impossible to see coming enemy or obstacle in my path at the last second. Every time I trusted the game, it slapped me right in the face. Even Dark Souls is more trustworthy than this. But hey, cope, right? All that said though, despite some incredibly frustrating moments, I had a good amount of fun with this game. The still young parts of the game were incredibly unique and entertaining to play, and the boss fights are well designed, especially for the time. My favorite probably being the Starlight Zone boss, which makes good use of the physics engine by having you use teeter-totters to send yourself and his spiked bombs up to him in order to win. I had an overall good kind of first experience with this series, even though my friend tried to trick me into doing the special stages because I finished the game with no Chaos Emeralds.
Mania. Whoa. Okay, so the tutorial said there's a Chaos Emerald in here somewhere. Never mind.
Even though I had gotten to attempt a couple special stages. Then I found out that not only are all the emeralds extremely punishing to get for a multitude of reasons, but there's also next to no reward for it in this game, so I decided not to subject myself to torture forbidden by the Geneva Convention just yet. Joke's on him though, he's editing the whole stream down into this video. That'll show him to try and trick me into doing things even he, Sonic fanboy, hasn't done.
No! Wait! Come back!
If I had to rate this game, I'd probably give it a 6 overall. Factoring in its age, it'd probably bump up to a 7, but playing it today, the frustrating bits brought the game to some incredibly low lows despite its pretty solid highs, and I can't imagine actually getting through this back when I assume losing all your lives meant starting the whole game over again. That being said, I'm pleased with this as a start to the series, and if this is where it started, I'm excited to see how they improve on this in the next games and in the future. Up next, I'll be playing through and giving my thoughts on Sonic 2. You can watch these playthroughs live on Twitch at twitch.tv/NorthTococo or click the link in the description, and follow me on Instagram for stream notifications at north_Tococo, or also click the link in the description. Thanks for listening to me share my thoughts on a game most people have played decades ago. Hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful day.